Featherweight title, wins 2 losses, 3 draws. He fought 10 of his next 11 bouts, not in Puerto Rico, but in the Dominican Republic, where the opposition is considerably softer. And he won all 10 of those bouts, several of them by knockout. That's what helped to build the record, which has prompted the Puerto Rico-based governing body. Only his 3rd professional fight, though age advantage.
Movie Southpaw, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. In attraction is sanctioned by the WBO. The president, Francisco Valcarcel, 120 trunks with yellow trim, hailing from Akar.
Also an Olympian, and for this one.
Kind of skills he saw.
I mean, you had 396 that he left Puerto Rico because
at all well in this fight, he's going to have to go down.
Things he does so well, Roy.
With his footwork. His footwork is all as well. I mean, he's very good as an offensive and defensive fighter. So
now Lomachenko starts.
The thing I like about Lomachenko, he's not fighting every round like he's in a 3-round fight. And but he does have pretty. You can go in here after this guy.
He told us he thinks he belongs to get a little exposure, and so I think that attitude.
Lomachenko feinting and using that. Look for the conventional fighter to try to fire the straight right hand. There's a right hand that later. Oftentimes, their feet is expected to belong technically to whichever fighter can keep his lead foot seating in keeping his right foot.
I think when we're done with this fight, we're going to see.
Partially blocked right hand lead upstairs waistline.
Second time he's warned him already.
And what can that punch do for him in this matchup, Roy?
Well, it can open Rodriguez up more clear to see.
He landed
impressive performance so far,
yep.
And he made him miss all night long.
It's extraordinary. It's been interesting. Lomachenko has not been able to control this yet.
Is his confidence coming in, at least not to this point in the fight?
Lomachenko, now he wants to commit to the body.
Impossible to talk about a Ukrainian fighter at this moment in time without observing the party, which is not now under threat. Family is still there, unlike the United States, goes back to Ukraine between his worry about Russian insurgency in his part of the country.
You know, Jim, he's walking him down. He's pretty good at walking. Jim constantly is beautiful, which sets up his straight left hand. Show you how Steve Fahoud has to fight.
Steve, how do you have it?
Same as Harold, 2-0, but that first round was very close. I would give no argument to anybody.
At ringside, all night BO in this round, and he fires and getting more accurate, it seems to me, as time goes on against Gamalier Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's getting more accurate, Jim, but he took it pretty well. But my goodness, was it a straight, good, sharp.
Lomachenko is pressing forward more than he did, let's say, in round 1 or 2, round that easily.
This fight, a title fight 22, moving up to 126, is scheduled for 10.
Whereas Lomachenko's hands are getting quicker. He's throwing more as sharp as he was in the first few rounds.
Couple of hard shots.
Lomachenko uses
were jabs. He threw 30.
Using head movement along with the jab and throwing.
Lomachenko hurt his left hand in this fight, but not a lot.
On the undercarry in Macau, Piri Pino came in with a record of 50. Amazing record coming in. Lomachenko round, despite the loss of the use of his left hand, at least as a punching weapon for the middle part of it.
Yeah, Lomachenko's fought no softies in him, and he now has almost in this fight.
Rodriguez again. Both unofficial scorers gave the 3rd round to.
He has a cut over his right eye. That's not good for him because Lomachenko seems to be getting more. Could be a big problem. Like that.
Wow. Wow. I mean, when he starts in combination taking for guys like us who have been around the
5 pound for pound list.
And you know, for a lot of people who are seeing this, they've never seen it.
That's really caused some problems there for Gammy.
Stop! Let him out.
Sense of what Bird was talking about.
Oh,
wow,
goodness.
That right hook is amazing.
And it speaks to the head movement and lack of it by Rodriguez. I put that in the keys. He's just not moving his head at all.
Stop.
Lomachenko was taking over in a very big way. Oh, what an uppercut. His numbers on the round became a landslide.
And to put it in perspective.
In his 9 Olympic bouts en route to 2 gold measuring system has problems. 121-45 over 9 amateur bouts at the Olympics. In other words, he dominated all of them.
He's trying to answer with body shots of his own. Like it's a little low. So he gets a warning from the referee, and he said next time he's going to take a point.
It's up in an area where Rodriguez can't see him. The side-to-side movement is getting more dynamic, and Rodriguez is having trouble finding him.
Much attention is his defensive abilities easily.
Rodriguez was able to land in the first couple of rounds. Lomachenko is now either slipping them or blocking them.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's gotten the scouting report, and he knows what to do.
He didn't block that right hook then, but he...
Rodriguez is not giving up in this fight. It's just that he's faced with a skill level that's pretty extraordinary.
That same left hook he landed again is high on Lomachenko's head, but Rodriguez is constantly landing that shot.
Well, at some point, against somebody, probably a bigger puncher than Rodriguez, he fought was able to get a decision win against him in a badly refereed fight, go over and over and over.
Yeah, that part was very odd, but Manuel Lopez twice, and those big punches did not get Lomachenko out of it.
One of the things that Max Kellerman always talks about and marvels at how he uses that front foot
with that right foot.
Rodriguez paid the price for that low blow that went just under the belt line. Awkward action, but Roy, the thing is Lomachenko doesn't stop fighting, does he?
No, he doesn't. The referee doesn't say stop.
Yeah.
He does not stop, which is what he's supposed to do.
As a boxer hitting all his life, if there are skeptics going on. Letterman. Steve Farhood's score will come up first, 50-44. Hunch that Harold Letterman's score is also going to be 50-44.
Now you might be surprised. Very one-sided ever since that first round. And when I look at him and his movement, just superb.
Harold, 2 8-point rounds in a row.
Oh, yeah. He made it 10-8 instead of 10-9. But in round 4, Vasyl Lomachenko went at round 50-43, 5 rounds to nothing. Vasyl Lomachenko.
And Vasyly's father gave him a good bit of advice in the corner. Told him not to go out and try to knock the kid out. Just box him.
Stop.
There.
You know, much of what Rodriguez is doing in this fight against lesser fighters has worked just fine. And he's not fighting that much.
Lomachenko's arm. And Lomachenko, other one when you do.
Rodriguez has done that to the point where it'd be.
That's what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes see how it feels, and that will remind him maybe to stop.
Al, that was a professional move.
The great Gil Clancy said, somebody hits you low, you tell his fighters, do the same.
So Lomachenko, this is 5th.
Decided to take matters in his own hand by.
Obviously, times have changed, Roy.
Yeah, time learned is in the referee, your corner, nobody else can stop.
And you know you're not going
to do it back to you.
Isn't there
probably a book too. Harold Letterman wants to make a point about low blows. Let's bring him in. Harold,
you know, Jim, this is something I've been yelling and screaming about for years. You know, belly button, it's a low blow, but you can't see the belly, the waistband. So therefore, Robert Burke, a punch landing on a waist. Now all of a sudden he's saying it's illegal. They really should change that rule and say in periods. So at least the way the belly button is.
And screaming about for years. It has it 60-53, and Harold has it 60-52, and Lomachenko's just piling it up here.
Yeah, that body shot just almost dropped Rodriguez. That hurt him really bad, Jim.
And he grabs on the other side of Bird, and he didn't see it, but this is becoming a brutal display, and down out of the round as Lomachenko runs across the ring to get at him. He senses a possible stoppage here.
And those left hands demonstrate his left hand is just fine in this fight.
Yeah, the bruise on the middle finger, obviously not a factor here tonight.
This is far too much time for Rodriguez to survive, I believe, with Lomachenko going to his body like this, but he might.
Rodriguez doing an effective job of covering up, but taking clean shots again in that situation right there.
Has done it even better, throwing both the right hook and then the straight left hand downstairs. He causes him to take to the body.
Saw how wide his feet were apart right then. That's what allows
Rodriguez is here.
Giving up by now, being hit as many times as he has and as hard as he has.
Oh my God, the right hook was perfect. Down, right, Roy?
Well, partially, but you know, you got to give credit to Lomachenko as well. He is the type of a fighter that if you had to go in the dictionary to define moves of boxing, you would find his picture in almost every one of them.
That's why he's called high-tech part of the fight, Robert. But that's okay. You're doing fine.
Well, you know, not really doing this. He's trying to go appropriately, have to have him be warned. And Lomachenko's fight against Orlando Salido when he didn't get help from the referee. It's the thing that every featherweight that...
Yeah, they sure are.
The irony being, of course, that Russell may have the fastest land that night. Another thing Lomachenko does so leads on his punches. Sometimes he'll hit you with the softball, sometimes he'll bring the medium, and then every once in a while you get
this ball that's really experienced. He may be able to, doesn't use that every time. He uses his tech to decide which pitch he'll use at what time. Same thing Lomachenko is doing right here.
Rodriguez grabs
7, 6.
Count the punches.
And you know, he has landed enough of
their fighter in round 8. Lomachenko landed 48.06, his high number for the fight. Rodriguez landed 4 punches. Lomachenko 30 of 33.
And what's instructive about those 32 punches, the number of punches thrown by Rodriguez has
what a couple of right hooks. What a couple of right hooks there. And Rodriguez is down for the second time.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And that was a constant
this over the last 3 or 4 rounds, and the body work was impeccable. That right hook on the inside, and then doubling with the right hook. So while we didn't know,
his trainer or someone in his corner waved his arms and just said, "Don't bother," and he kind of nodded. It was almost like Eric Morales after the last knockdown against Manny Pacquiao in their 3rd fight, when Morales just sort of nodded to his father in his corner and said,
on the inside, that the variety of work by Lomachenko, which is extraordinary. You know, he has literally every punch in the arsenal. And he continues to work him over. And we may get a look at the corner as well during this barrage of punches as he goes down to one knee.
He sweeps the right hand for one hard.
Vasyl